There are more free resources for restaurant owners than ever before. Videos, downloads, podcasts, webinars, checklists, templates. So why aren't more restaurants improving? Because information doesn't change a business, execution does. And collecting resources without implementing them is not leadership. It's digital hoarding with better intentions. Hey there, Restaurant Pro. This is David Scott Peters, restaurant expert, coach, and creator of the Restaurant Prosperity Formula. Today, we're going to talk about the real reason restaurant owners don't use free resources. And let's be honest, it's not because resources don't exist. They do. The internet is drowning in advice. The problem is not access to information. The problem is implementation. And implementation is where the wheels come off. Here's the symptom. A restaurant pro watches videos, downloads tools, listens to podcasts, attends webinars, saves posts, maybe even takes notes. They feel productive. They feel inspired. They feel like they're learning. But 6 months later, the restaurant looks the same. Same food cost problems, same labor problem, same manager problem, same cash flow stress, same owner dependency, same chaos. So they go looking for the next resource. Another video, another checklist, another idea, another shiny object, and the cycle repeats. This is not because restaurant pros are lazy. That's too simplistic. Most independent restaurant pros are working their tails off. They are busy. They are tired. They are solving problems all day long. They are dealing with employees, guests, vendors, repairs, payroll, scheduling, marketing, cash flow, and whatever fresh nonsense decides to walk through the door today. So when they consume free resources, it often feels like progress. And sometimes it is the beginning of progress. But learning something and changing the business are not the same thing. That gap is where most resources go to die. The misdiagnosis is thinking they need more information. Most restaurant pros do not have an information shortage. They have an execution shortage. That is a very different problem. Information feels safe. Implementation creates friction. Information lets you stay in learning mode. Implementation forces you to make decisions, assign responsibility, train people, inspect work, hold managers accountable, and deal with resistance. That's where things get real. And that's why free resources often don't get used. Not because they're bad, because there is no system to turn the resource into behavior. Let's call out the pattern. You download the checklist. You think, this is good. We should use this. You send it to a manager. The manager says, looks good. Then Friday happens. Then someone calls out. Then the printer breaks. Oh, then a guest complains. Then inventory gets pushed. Then the checklist sits in the folder, quietly aging like a sad little cheese plate nobody ordered. That's not a resource problem. That's an implementation problem. Let me give you a few coaching insights. First, pick one thing and execute it. Not 5 things. Not a complete restaurant transformation by Tuesday, 3 p.m. One thing. Maybe it's a waste tracker. Maybe it's a key item tracker. Maybe it's a manager log. Maybe it's a weekly inventory rhythm. Maybe it's a daily checklist. Pick one system that solves one problem and implement it fully. Restaurant pros get into trouble when they collect ideas instead of installing systems. A tool sitting in a folder does nothing. A checklist nobody uses does nothing. A spreadsheet no one reviews does nothing. The value is not having the resource. The value is using it consistently. And this is where focus becomes a leadership skill. A lot of restaurant pros try to fix everything at once because everything feels urgent. Food cost is urgent. Labor is urgent. Manager accountability is urgent. Training is urgent. Cash flow is urgent. Marketing is urgent. But when everything is urgent, nothing gets implemented well. You have to choose the next right system and install it completely. Second, build accountability around the resource. Who owns it? When is it completed? Who reviews it? What happens when it's not done? How do you coach from it? If those questions are not answered, the tool will die quietly. And let's be honest, restaurants are where good intentions get murdered by Friday night service. So you need accountability. Accountability does not mean yelling at people after they fail. That's not leadership. That's emotional cleanup. Accountability means the expectation was clear before the work started. The training was provided. The deadline was known. The review rhythm was established. The follow-up happened. This is how a free resource becomes a working system. Third, use resources intentionally. Do not consume content like entertainment and expect business results. When you watch a training or download a tool, ask yourself, what problem am I trying to solve? If you don't know, stop. Random learning creates random results. Focused learning creates movement. If your food cost is out of control, focus there. If your managers are not leading, focus there. If labor is a mess, focus there. If cash flow is tight, focus there. Stop trying to fix everything at once. That's how restaurant pros overwhelm themselves and their teams. A resource should be tied to a current priority, not a vague wish, not this seems useful someday, a current priority. For example, if food costs is the priority, then don't download 10 unrelated marketing templates and call it productivity. Use the waste tracker, use the key item tracker, review invoices, train managers on inventory, create the weekly rhythm. This is how you turn learning into movement. Fourth, understand the difference between content and coaching. Content gives you information. Coaching helps you apply it. Content can show you what to do. Coaching helps you figure out why you're not doing it, what's getting in the way, what to prioritize, who needs to own it, and how to keep going when the first attempt gets messy. And it will get messy. That's normal. Implementation in a restaurant is not clean and cute. It's people, habits, resistance, emergencies, old beliefs, inconsistent managers, and a kitchen printer screaming at you, all while you're trying to create accountability. Free resources can be powerful, but they don't replace focus, leadership, and follow-through. This is where coaching earns its keep. A good coach does not just hand you another tool. A good coach helps you choose the right tool at the right time and actually use it. A good coach helps you stop hiding in learning mode. A good coach asks, what did you implement? Not, what did you download? Big difference. Fifth, stop confusing knowing with doing. This one stings. A lot of restaurant pros know what they should be doing. They know they should be tracking prime costs. They know they should be reviewing invoices. They know they should be training managers. They know they should be using checklists. They know they should be holding people accountable. But knowing doesn't change the restaurant. Doing does. And doing consistently is where prosperity is built. That's why coaching is so valuable. Not because a coach magically gives you information you've never heard before. Sometimes the coach tells you what you already know, but have been avoiding. That's rude, useful, and necessary. A coach helps you choose the right priority, install the system, stick with it, measure progress, and stop drifting back into chaos. Because without accountability, free information becomes shelf help. Not self-help, shelf help. It sits there, looks nice, does nothing. And this is the uncomfortable truth. Free resources are not really free if they distract you from implementation. If you keep consuming but never executing, the cost is time. The cost is attention. The cost is delay. The cost is another month with the same food cost problem, another month with the same labor issue, another month with the same manager excuses, another month where the restaurant dictates the terms of your life. So the question is not, do I have access to enough resources? The question is, what am I actually installing into the business? That is the shift. Restaurant Pro, the real reason free resources don't change most restaurants is not because the resources are useless. It's because information without implementation is just noise. Pick one thing, install it, assign ownership, inspect it, coach from it, repeat it until it becomes part of how your restaurant operates. Free information doesn't change your business. Execution does. And if execution is where you keep getting stuck, that's your sign that you don't need more content. You need accountability, focus, and coaching. Because prosperity is not built by collecting ideas. It's built by doing the work one system at a time. There's one number that's quietly killing your restaurant profits, and most owners don't even know what it should be. It's your prime cost. And right now, most restaurants are running at least 15 points higher than they should be, which means you're working harder and making less than you deserve. If you're tired of being stuck in your restaurant, tired of inconsistent or non-existent profits, then it's time to find out what's really going on. I invite you to book a free 30-minute restaurant profit finder call with my team, where you'll uncover exactly what's eating your profits and what it's costing you every single month. Just click the link in the description to get started.